Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your debt diva. And if you're just tuning in, well, I am the one that comes on and I talk to you about financial everything. I think that's what I'm going to start saying on every show because we really do dig into so many topics. And since it's tax time, I thought I'd talk about taxes. Now, one thing about taxes, so whether you're watching this during the tax season or later on in the year, taxes is something that we should all be focused on year round. And I'll get into that today. So our last segment, we talked a little bit about do's and don'ts and some other stuff around taxes. But today, I really want to just break down not only taxes, but what's happening when you're getting a refund, what you should be doing with this tax refund, and a couple other items today. So thank you so much for joining me. And don't turn that dial if you're watching. So just hang in there and listen. So I'm Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions. I've been working in finances for over 25 years now. Little bit in corporate America, and then over 15 years running Lana Solutions, which is a business here in Omaha, Nebraska that helps people live debt-free, and I educate you around credit and financial literacy. So that's who I am. You can Google me. If you mention KPAO, I'd love to sit down and speak with you for free and everything that you have going on financially. So, if you get a tax refund this year, is it really a blessing? What a lot of people don't know and understand, it's actually a missed opportunity. So a refund is not free money, you guys. So I want you to get that out of your head. The government is not doing you a favor, even though they twist it and they talk to you as if they are. So what's really happening is they're returning your money back to you. And it's without interest. It's what you've overpaid, or if you owe a bill, have underpaid. So the real question is, when you get it, are you going to emotionally use it or strategically, those that are getting refunds? So in this first part of the show, I wanted to talk about what are we actually doing when we file taxes? As a licensed tax professional and one who has ran a tax office for a few years, one thing that really is a pain point for me is when consumers file their taxes and they don't care or really just don't know what they're doing. So you have lines of people rushing in the beginning of the year. These are normally the people who are getting a refund. They got their W-2s and a few files in hand, and then they pretty much just let us run the show. We ask the questions, we put in the information, boom, presto, here's what you're getting out. What is a pain point for me is a lot of times they don't ask any questions. They don't care to ask any questions. They hear the refund amount and they're good, and they'll see us, in a week or two, unless they're going to get like a rapid refund and give away another few $100s to get the money sooner. Okay, you are reconciling with the government based on what was withheld from your paycheck. A refund means you overpaid. You gave the government an interest-free loan. So adjusting your W-4 could increase your monthly cash flow instead of waiting on a refund. So what does that look like? A lot of us live in a system where we're so used to borrowing and not investing that when we look at taxes, we kind of just look at it, well, this is just something I have to do. Yes, we do have to pay taxes, but you can use taxes to set you up financially as well. So what do I mean when I say that? Find out why you're getting a refund. And if you're getting thousands of dollars the beginning of each year, a big tax refund, you need to consider possibly filing exempt. Yes, you can do that. Or you need to increase your deductions on your W-4, and there are ways you can do that as well. There are tax clinics here in Omaha, Nebraska that will sit down and help you understand what you're filing, why you're filing, and why you're getting a tax refund or a tax debt, okay? So if you have yet to file, especially you small business owners, because you come rushing in the end of March and the last week or two of April before deadline, normally April 15th, right? And you're running to get an extension, or you're just not prepared at all to even file your small business taxes. Carve out some time this year, and even if you already filed your taxes, this is for you too, because you can amend your taxes up to 3 years. Go through that 1040, Schedule C, whatever form you're filing on, and I want you to take a look. That's your homework. Just take a look at each line item just to kind of see what is on here, what questions are on here, and not just letting our TurboTax online software ask the questions, we put in the numbers, but just take a pause and find out, what is a tax liability? Why am I getting a refund? What is adjusted, adjusted gross income? What are these expenses and these child tax credits and earned income and all of this stuff they're talking about? I'm not saying you need to be a licensed tax professional like myself, but what I am saying is you are going to have to get an understanding of what you're doing with your money, because it's one thing to save money and spend money, raise credit scores, have credit scores drop, but not have a clue as to what's going on. So understanding is key for Lana Solutions. If you are just tuning in, you'll hear that a lot from me, because when we know better, we do better. And even if we don't choose to do better, at least we know better. We know what to do and not to do. So, with that part, what are we actually doing when we file taxes? Sit down with your tax professional this year and get the questions you need. And with Google and ChatGPT, you guys, you can pick any line item on that tax report and it will decipher exactly what it is and what it means. I know everybody's not a financial nerd like myself, but I just want you to have a broad look at what is actually being done and why am I getting so much money back as a refund when you can invest that same $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 into an investment account and get your own refund money back by compound interest, okay? So refund advances often come with fees and can reinforce debt patterns. So once you're getting a refund, you don't rush this money, because this is what people need to understand. If you've included a tax refund into your debt paying off or catching up on bills, you're going to do that every single year. You have to learn to put yourself in a position right now where you have more money than month versus running out to get a new car. This is the time of year, pay attention and look around. You will see in transits and brand new cars like never before, because what's happening is they're taking their W-2s and they're just filing them with the dealership. And then they're giving the dealership the extra thousands of dollars of refund money, and they're driving off with new cars, and you're just running up more debt. And a car is a depreciating asset. You can look that up, but that's a whole nother segment. We'll deal with that later on this year, all right? And this is not to harp on you, you guys. This is really to educate you and enlighten you, because I'm a true believer, a firm believer. When we know better, we do better. Okay, the second part of this, I wanted to talk about the smart way to use a tax refund, okay? So I have a little chart where it talks about 40, 30, 20, 10%. Whether you use the percentages or not, use that refund to pay off. 40% of it is to pay off high interest debt, credit cards, and collections. You don't want that on your back all year. So if you can save money by paying off the high interest credit cards, do that with that refund money. Also, collection items. This is the best time to try to settle some collection items because they know you have the money and they know when you call them to work out a settlement, you're being honest. Hey, I got a couple extra thousand and I know my bill is XYZ, but this is all I have. So if you want to take it, let's get this settled now. 30% of that money needs to be used for emergency savings. I can't say this enough. I call it a peace of mind account. You can call it an emergency fund, but life is going to happen where you are going to have to budget some money for emergencies. We don't know when, where, or how sometimes, but they happen. And especially if it's an auto maintenance, flat tires, something breaks down, you want to be able to pull from this fund and take care of it and not have to run to a paycheck advance or borrow money from a friend or family member. You have a little extra money right now. Be wise with it and get that emergency fund in place now. I say $1,000. Dave Ramsey says $1,000. Hey, if you can at least get 500 in there to start, get something in there, okay? 20% of that refund, catch up on necessities. As a lot of times you can walk through your house or just living our best life, we can look around and we can be like, oh wow, I really need to get that repaired, or I need to replace that, or we could really use X, Y, and Z. We'll take 20% of that and take care of some of those things that you really need to take care of. And 10%, guess what? Enjoy it, guilt-free. Might be $100, $200, maybe $500, but I am a strong believer that you need to have a little something to the side to just be human, right? You're going to make mistakes. When I work with a lot of my debt clients, and whether they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt or just a few hundred or a few thousand, I always try to remind them, save $10 to $20 if your income allows more. I have them set that aside, and that's just a fund for themselves. It's just play money. Sometimes when we're in stores and different things, we like to do some impulse shopping. A friend has a impromptu, I don't know, wedding, get together, Galentine days. You know, there's a gathering for everything. You may want to go out, night on the town, listen to some jazz or what have you. Set that little bit of money, $10 a paycheck, $20 a paycheck. Maybe it's $100 for you, but that's just like a play fund where you don't have to feel like, wow, I can't have the Starbucks. I can't have, a lot of women like to get their nails done. I can't get my nails done. For the men, it may be a nice cologne or just hanging out with the fellows. Set aside a fund where you can spend 10% of that refund or 1 to 10% of the income that you have coming in every 2 weeks, every month, or however it is your income is coming in. I think that's very important. And some of my clients would be so severely in debt where they're at a point where they're either being garnished or they're getting ready to be garnished. And they'll look at me crazy if I'm like, hey, take $10 or $20 and do something for yourself this week, you know, on payday. And they just can't believe it. But we need that. We need to take care of ourselves, okay? That way we're able to, I always say, woosah, breathe, right? And get rid of that anxiety and that fear so that we can focus and we can plan to budget and manage our finances for 2026 a lot better. I don't want penny pinching. What I like to see in Lana Solutions is strategic results, and the numbers don't lie. So if you're doing your homework, like I've told you on many shows, to pull those bank statements the last 90 days, I need you to look at the unconscious spending, highlight it, write it down. You know what it is. The lunch with the girls or the fellas, right? We got March Madness coming up. I was able to have Mike teach me more about that because I didn't have a clue what it meant. But as we're having fun and we're living our lives, whether we're jumping from March Madness to Easter, right? Or the 4th of July, right? None of these holidays or these gatherings, they're not going anywhere. So just take time to really focus on what am I doing financially different this year that's going to get me better results than last year. So if that tax refund is in your hand or that tax debt, there are ways to work around both of those that will help you financially for the years to come. If you need to get with a tax clinic here, you can go to irs.gov and look one up for Omaha, Nebraska, or the surrounding areas for free. Or you're more than welcome to reach out to Lana Solutions. Let's talk about, so we covered what are we actually doing when we file taxes and the smart way to use a tax refund. Let's talk about getting out of debt, all right, in 2026 without creating more. We want to make sure that we stop the bleeding, number one. No new unnecessary debt, okay? No new, you hear me? You're running out there to grab those new cars, right? And the car payments now are anywhere from $500 to almost $800 a month, and that does not include your auto insurance. So you know almost $1,000 of your paycheck is gone. The average salary in Omaha, Nebraska is in the $60,000 range. So if you're picking up almost $1,000 per month to drive around in a car, right? To look rich but not be rich. I'm sitting on your lap today, you guys. No. And I've sent clients right back to the dealership to find something more affordable or just voluntarily turn it back in. I'm going to tell you about a story of one lady. She had a Beamer. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful, right? Made good money, owned her own business, was finally in a position though where things were getting tight. Because you can only move debt around so much until you have to start really paying for everything that you borrowed. So she was at the end of her rope. And she was finally starting to see she couldn't keep robbing Peter to pay Paul because it catches up with you. And I told her, being the boss that she was, right? Looked real good in her Beamer paying $1,000, and that was maybe 5 or 10 years ago, a month. And she was leasing it, so she didn't even own it. After she got done with leasing it, she'd just go in and get another one and pay over $1,000 or something a month. And we just had to get to the root cause analysis of it. You are a leader. You are a boss. Why do you have to spend, which means to throw away, so much money in a depreciating asset that's not even yours because you're giving it right back and then you're getting in another one, right? So there's no return on your investment. And she finally realized, you know what? I don't need this. And went and actually got a more affordable SUV, very nice SUV, I have you. And I think maybe it was $20,000 or $1,000, and she just enjoyed it. She was able to free up money to start paying off some of the other business debt and things she needed to take care of. And those are the stories I like to hear about. So I thought I would share that with you. So let's stop the bleeding. No new unnecessary debt. Avoid lifestyle inflation, you guys. The Joneses are in bankruptcy. And they're smiling right by you, and they got on the fancy clothes and the big cars, and they're anxious and they're nervous, and there's a lot going on, because sooner or later, even the celebrities, some of the ultra rich, in the news lines, headlines, it's telling us such and such filed bankruptcy. Imagine that. Another well-known business has filed bankruptcy. Oh, here's one for you. Your banks were filing bankruptcy. Come on, it does not have to be us. It does not have to be our families. Let's get a hold of our monies and stop that spending and that lifestyle inflation. Choose a strategy. I like the debt snowball plan because it shows progress as you pay off the smallest to largest. But since some of you have a large refund, do the avalanche and knock out some of those high interest credit cards and debts first. You can even consolidate debt. Right now, US Bank and Wells Fargo, I checked, had 0% balance transfers. When you sit down and speak with them, talk to them to see if you can qualify for that. Also, they have a way, most banks, not all of them, where they can do a soft check to see if you would qualify. That way you don't have to get hit with a hard inquiry. And if you don't know what a hard inquiry is you have not been watching Debt Diva. So I'm gonna need you to Google that and see what that is. Keep credit utilization under 30%, and under 10% is ideal for strong scores. So if you wanna raise your credit score and you have a little extra tax refund money, get a hold of those credit cards and decrease those balances to below 30%. Increase income intentionally. You got a little extra money, you can probably breathe a little bit right now. Find some side work, overtime, or you can monetize on your skill, something you love to do. I don't know if you do hair, if you sew, if you whatever that passion of yours is, working with kids. Don't be afraid to look at some of those fun jobs, and don't write those jobs off. One thing people will hear from me when they sit down with me, and I was taught this, you can be a millionaire working at McDonald's if you know how to flip and manage your money, okay? Debt freedom is behavior. It's not mathematical. So if you're wondering why you cannot ever have enough money in the month, there's more month than money, it is a strategic, mathematical process. All the unconscious spending, you have to be done with it. And you have to be like, my life is a business. A wise person taught me, my paycheck is a business. So you need to be crunching numbers. You need to be taking inventory. You need to be planning, or you're going to live 2026 the way you live 2025, 2024, just vicariously living, not worrying, we'll deal with it tomorrow. No, deal with it today, so you don't have to come running to a company like Lana Solutions or some of these other credit advisors, consumer credit counseling agencies to bail you out when you're getting the information right now here, you guys. And if you can hear my passion behind it, it's because I've been doing it, you guys, for over 25 years. And I get to see the tears and the heartache and the confusion of trying to keep up with a system that runs us right into being the borrower and never the lender. And we deserve to be put in a position where we're debt-free and we're financially stable. And even if you have debt, it can be managed and it can be good, and not just borrowing just to borrow. Well, I think I want to go on vacation because I just feel like it. So I'm going to borrow $5,000 and go to Hawaii, and just because, I have the income that can pay the monthly payment, but I don't have the income that can pay for the whole trip up front. We need to think about that. Okay, one late payment can drop a score 60 to 100 points. So if you are dealing with any late payments, use that, or getting ready to be late on a payment, please make sure you pay your credit cards and your payments on time, because that is now, they're saying, 40% of your credit score. You cannot borrow your way into financial peace. And so as we get ready to wrap this up, I want you to think about that. A lot of people that have lived in debt for many years, and they come from families that manage debt, where everything in your house is just always something that you're either renting or you've borrowed and you're trying to pay stuff off. And newsflash, if the bank still owns it, it's not yours. You're just making a payment. Miss a payment or two or three, and you will find out who the owner is. In 2026, during this tax season, right? But tax season is all year around because it's your money, right? That's working either for you or against you. I really just want you to take the time to understand your taxes, all right? I know I harped on you a little bit this show, but I'm seeing more and more clients. You guys, we are over $1 trillion in credit card debt. And the interest rates are anywhere from 20 to, I've seen 33% on department store interest rate. That means you're making payments and they are taking almost half of your payment that you're making towards those principal balances, meaning you are not ever going to get out of that cycle unless you stop. So 2026, I'm giving you permission to stop and look at your credit reports. Look at your tax reports. Look at your money. Plan, take inventory. See what's going on, and let's change the behaviors in 2026. Get an understanding of what you're doing, who you're working with, and I'll see you next time on Debt Diva. Your girl, Nicole Ryan, right here on KPAO. All right, have a good one.